Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
It's a tradition he never breaks.
Did you have a good night's sleep, guys?
Create an original menu for New Year's Eve.
Last night I said we were going to talk about December 31st.
Gilles Goujon, a 3-star Michelin chef and meilleur ouvrier de France, has his plans ready for the event in 2 weeks.
In the idea of the oyster we talked about, it's the smoked oyster with the pearl.
Just like in high fashion, drawings are the starting point for everything. His dishes are then tried, tasted, and adjusted.
Hazelnut oil, yes, and then...
For this special evening, the plate must be a spectacle.
And then our pearl on top, I blow them up indoors with a little hammer we've got here, so they'll break and then the smoke will come out. On that day, it has to be magical, I'd like to say, with exceptional products. Things that please, that aren't exceptional, that sound pretentious, but that the product is, and that we stage it in a way that leaves a memory.
Gilles Goujon's New Year's Eve menu is billed at 300 euros per person, excluding wine. It will never be served again.
Is that clear to everyone? Everyone takes their teammates and we get on with it, taking advantage of today to move forward. In 3 or 4 hours, we have to be just about right for testing.
All the products Chef Goujon uses come from his home region, Languedoc-Roussillon. The oyster in his amuse-bouche grew up here, in the waters of the Thau Pond. 10 million oysters are produced on the 10 hectares of this lagoon. As there are no tides in the Mediterranean, the oysters here are often small, but not those destined for Gilles Goujon. Florent Taborièche, his exclusive producer, had a revolutionary idea for improving their flesh, to create an artificial tide. Thanks to a system of pulleys, the oysters emerge from the water at precise times each day.
Come on, let's hurry up. The wind's picking up. Let's pull the signs. Here on the table, we'll see the 12 engines from engine 1 to engine 12.
It's with a simple cell phone that we control the entire oyster farm. With all this moving back and forth in the water, it takes 4 years to raise these oysters, 4 times longer than for ordinary Mediterranean oysters.
This forces them to build up their reserves, their resistance, and their muscles. As a result, after 4 years, we end up with oysters with fleshy, muscular characteristics like these. So we have oysters that are very fleshy. You can see them here with a big muscle. And it's in this muscle that we find all the sugars, and in this flesh, which is very thick, that we can identify all the flavors and textures too.
Thanks to this patented invention, Florent exports his oysters to around 20 countries. They sell for 6 euros each, 30% more expensive than top-of-the-range oysters from Brittany or the Atlantic coast. Oysters destined for Gilles Goujon also receive special treatment, extended maturation.
This is a rather exceptional place. It's where we store our oysters for Goujons. In other words, for us, Goujons are the most mature oysters, the ones we leave for 7 or 8 years. In the end, it's the time, the length of the maturation period that counts. In the end, these are jewels that we've managed to create using methods and processes that are different each time. In the end, these are jewels.
Jewels that Gilles Goujon handles with delicacy in his workshop.
What you have to avoid is hitting the oyster. Because if you put a knife in it, the oyster retracts. And then you have a beautiful oyster. It stayed in its shell, it didn't suffer, it's magnificent.
After being smoked over beechwood, the oyster is prepared as a tartar with chives, Piedmont hazelnut oil and fresh cream.
And that's when you start to smell lemon, hazelnut, and iodine. Then, of course, it's cold. When it's cold, you don't get big rises. But I can already smell the Mediterranean.
A sugar pearl is then filled with beechwood smoke, then placed in the oyster's pearly shell.
Let's get started. As soon as the pearl is inside, we need to move fast.
For the first time, Gilles Goujon tests this recipe with his team and gives directions for service.
So, in fact, you announce the oyster and ask,
Now take the little hammer in your hand and give the pearl a light tap. That's it, delicately, and to feel it right afterwards.
I'm looking now, shall we? The first thing I do is to see if there's any smoke coming out. And then you have to tell the customer. The customer has to come a little closer. All right, then.
When it's time to taste the pearl too, with the maître d'hôtel, the chef, and the sommelier around the table. Tasting in silence. And verdict?
There's enough acidity. I was thinking of putting a little more lemon juice in there, wasn't I? No?
Yes. Next dish will be a scallop just seared. Served with a cream of Jerusalem artichoke and black truffle.
Vincent, it's like having a scallop.
The shell is there, more than the flavors. It's the presentation that Gilles Goujon wants to test.
And above all, the broth will have a magical quality. Watch what happens next. The little painting goes away. So you end up with an all-white scallop. That's just fine. So that's the first effect. Second effect, the scallop will disappear.
It's magical. The composition of this fake scallop shell is a secret that the chef didn't want to reveal.
A cream, he'll take it all. He stirs well with his cream. You see, he melts the coral cream, and that's it. And he ends up with a truffle soup. Very nice.
Chef Goujon's truffles are 10 kilometers from the restaurant, between the vineyards and mountains of the Corbière. It's good for the dogs, it's humid.
They smell truffles, more gas is released.
William Sorey goes truffle hunting for the first time this season. For 15 years, this market gardener has sold them exclusively to Chef Goujon. He takes us to a place he keeps secret. In this oak forest, one of the rare species of tree that allows truffles to grow.
It's locked. Yes, we locked the door. So that, to prevent for intruders. Even if it's a plantation, it's still a secret.
For the holidays, William must give Gilles Goujon 5 kilos of black truffles. Melanosporum, the queen of truffles, sold for up to 1,500 euros a kilo.
There's some over there too. Hop. Mosquito. Carry there, that's good. Ooh, mosquito. That's a good one. Good start. Good start. Now that's a truffle.
To dig them up, William can count on a specialist, his dog Mosquito. He trained him when he was a puppy by rubbing truffles on his mother's teats.
Oh yes, he can smell them from 55 or even more meters away. When the Tramontane wind blows his nose, he can smell them a long way away. Hop, he's had a nose job.
An expert like Mosquito can be worth up to 3,000 euros. At this time of year, not all the truffles have yet reached maturity.
That's good, Mosquito. But look, when you cut it, you see it's really not colorful. You can eat it, but it's much less valuable than a black truffle like the one we found earlier. Can you see the difference? There's one that's mature and one that's not yet mature.
Gilles Goujon only uses the blackest. Of the 800 grams he caved this morning, he will take only 200. If the chef wants the best truffles, is to sublimate his main course. At the foot of Bouguerac Mountain, there aren't many people to disturb the peace and quiet of Jeannot's capons. These castrated chickens are raised for 6 months in the open air, scratching the earth for 6 months.
How thin is the skin? Touch it, you see. Your skin is magnificent. It's sublime. It's like silk.
Jean Prior runs a restaurant, but every year, for his friend Gilles Goujon, he returns to his old profession, that of breeder, and prepares 20 capons exclusively for him.
I wouldn't do this for anyone else. Never in a million years, never in a million years. I only do it for him, because I'm faced with an artist. And when you have an artist who knows how to sublimate the things you do, it's true that it's such a pleasure that you have to do it for him.
The last month of their lives, Capons spend it locked up to fatten up. They too are entitled to a 3-star menu.
So it's corn. Crushed corn. And I put it to soak in milk and I put it to cook in milk.
A polenta for demanding capons.
Who only eats in peace and quiet. But it's true that we wouldn't let him bring a child or anything like that inside, because he mustn't get stressed always. He must always be calm to be able to fatten up and grow. The finest flesh possible. Come on, let's eat. And then we'll go to Uncle Gilles.
At Uncle Gilles, the capon is cooked in a charcoal oven after having been comtized. In other words, the chef slipped truffles under its skin.
So we put it in the oven several times. In the oven, out in, there it comes out, it's crispy. You can see the truffle. It's nice and golden. The black is not burnt. You can see the truffle through the skin. Here's a nice capon, and here you can feel everything. You can hear the music of the kitchen, the sound of cooking. The kitchen sings.
To accompany the poultry,
We put the ice cream, we finish them off like this.
his hoof-shaped potatoes. The chef cuts the capon himself.
Careful, I need someone with me to hold just a little.
He's also the one who imagines the dressing.
It's all about getting the capon into its cage.
The capon supreme will be served with a truffle juice.
It's not quite what I'd like. We have things that smells just a little too hot. We've got the hoof that hides the view of the capon. Maybe even the plate. We need to rethink the presentation.
The dessert imagined by the chef is this chocolate box filled with little gourmet gifts, accompanied by a citrus sorbet poached in a sugar-blasted clementine.
Go on. A beautiful mandarin sorbet. Go on, it's good. Anthony, come on.
All that's missing is the finishing touch.
That's it. Really important. Look, come back a little. Just a bit closer to me. Now, hold still. That's it, that's it. Come and take this off. Tuck. You can unpack the present, actually, if you like. I'll undo it. That's the game I want. And the customer can eat. Is there anything we could add at the last minute? A little mandarin juice? That's not bad.
All 60 places at Gilles Goujon's restaurant have been reserved for the December 31 meal for 3 months.
To this meal and the next, as we say here.